Welcome to Flats Nation Sound Bites, where we share tips, tricks, and product information to help you better enjoy our sport and lifestyle. And a big shout out to Brother Dave Fader for the awesome music. You can check out more of Dave's phenomenal work on davidfader.com. This is your host, Dave Legier, and welcome back to Flats Nation Sound Bites. In this volume, we chat with Captain Blair Wiggins about improving your strike ratio while fishing by some simple observation and duplicating it. Kind of reminds me of a past show of his called Battle of the Bridge, where Brother Mark Nichols of DOA kept telling him to just let it sit. You've had a lot of anglers on your boat, not only guiding, but also, television production shows for decades now. What do you feel is the number one mistake anglers make that reduces their strike ratio when they're out on the flat? Is it the lack of lure cover scent? Is it boat noise? Really, what do you see as the number one item that people need to pay attention to?
Pay attention to exactly what happens when you get your first strike of the day.
Well, interesting.
Because if you're using live bait, you might be throwing line bait for 2 hours, and this is what I always tell people: it's not like you see on TV. It doesn't happen that way. We condense down, a whole day into 15 minutes. So you might be out there for an hour or 2 hours, and you're not getting a dang bite, not even a cricket looking at your bait, nothing. And you start slowing down, and oh geez, it's really getting tiring. This is nothing. Bite. Next thing you know, boom. You get a hit, you get fired up, your heart starts pumping, you start working that bait fast again, working it. Another 2 hours go by, so we're not catching anything. Slowing down again, or maybe even stop, throw the line out, stop, and relieve yourself off the side of the boat.
Sure.
And what happens? A lot of times you even call it, hey, watch, I'm going to get a hit while I'm doing this. And sure enough. And they might, and 9 times out of 10, they'll miss the fish that hits because they're fumbling, trying to put stuff back in and get
right.
And they miss the fish, and they go back to fishing fast again and working that bait. If they would have thought about it and thought about how they were working that bait when they first got the first hit of the day, and try to imitate that throughout the day until that technique doesn't work anymore, then start changing it up. But that would be my biggest, advice to somebody out fishing.
Well, it's all about finding the pattern and situational awareness. I mean, you and I have talked about that a lot in the past, and I agree. How whatever hit, you need to duplicate that. And the more you can duplicate that during that tide cycle, or whatever the case may be, the more strikes that you're probably going to get. Now, you can hear the entire podcast of Brother Blair, which is episode number 14, either in the podcast section of flatsnation.com or on our YouTube channel with the same name. And just as a reminder, our store's casual wear has some new designs related to our No Fish, No Florida tagline that was spurred on by an excellent conservation podcast with Lisa Fitzgerald of the CCA of Florida recently. You can now view and order them on our site by clicking on the top title bar for our store. Well, we hope you enjoyed our show today and found it both educational and entertaining at the same time. If you or your company would like to join the team on Flats Nation for a podcast or other coverage, feel free to drop us a quick note at info@flatsnation.com. And now, here's the rest of the song to run the skiff back home with. Tight lines and God bless.